So first we're going to make the marinade for the salmon. That's going to be white miso, sake, mirin, honey. And then you're just going to whisk all of that together. We want to marinate the salmon first because it's going to take the longest, and while it's marinating, we can prepare all of the other stuff that we're going to need. There are no measurements for the marinade, so just keep adding a little bit of ingredients until you like the taste. When you mix all of the ingredients together, you're going to add 2 tablespoons of oil and adjust with water. And then you're going to throw in your salmon. Make sure that your marinade is the right proportion according to the weight of your salmon. So I don't measure that, I just look at the salmon and I make the marinade, and if it's not enough, then I just make more marinade. Simple as that. Then you're going to cover up your salmon and throw it in the fridge to marinate. You can marinate it for about 30 minutes, but I just did it overnight. So onto the salmon, we're going to brush this sort of teriyaki version of a sauce. For that, we're going to need soy sauce, honey, ginger, and garlic. And then you're just going to heat it up on a medium heat, mixing often with a silicone spatula. And the goal here is to get a consistency that's going to be thick enough to coat the salmon when it's done. Make sure to constantly taste the sauce throughout the cooking process, because if it's not sweet enough, you're not going to be able to fix it later. So just keep tasting and adding more honey or more soy sauce. When the bubbles start to stack up on each other like this, the sauce is basically done. Pour that into a separate container and put that in the fridge while everything else is being completed. Alright, it's the next day for me and it's finally time to prepare the salmon. I'm using sushi rice and I'm washing it 3 times until the water is completely clear. And as for the amount, I'm using a little over 1-to-1 proportions. So I'm using 1 cup of rice and I'm using about 1 1/4 cup of water. That's the desired amount for my rice cooker. While the rice is cooking, we can prepare our salmon. So just put it on some foil and on a baking sheet. And at this point I realized I had too much salmon, so I'm going to cut half of it off and leave it for another time, and I'm just going to cook 1 piece. If your sauce is really cold and straight from the fridge, then I recommend throwing it into the oven in the last 5 minutes with the salmon. Meanwhile, we're just going to broil the salmon for about 10 minutes, and we're going to take it out. The sauce should be nice and up to temperature, and ready to spread onto the salmon. Brush a nice layer of sauce onto the salmon. You want to make sure all of it is coated from the sides to the top and the back. At this point my rice was finished cooking, so I'm going to just throw some rice vinegar on here and also throw in some sugar. I prefer this method to making sushi zu in advance because it's way easier, and for the majority of people at like 8 p.m. you can't be bothered to make sushi zu, so you can just do this and the taste is basically identical. Now it's finally time to prepare everything. So lay your salmon right in the center of the plate and get a separate bowl to which you're going to add your sushi rice from before. And that is the end of the process. Your miso salmon and your rice is ready. Thank you everybody for watching, and I will see you next time.